Yes, E3 is finally over, and like at the end of every E3, there must be a winner. We have to look at what everybody put out there, and it's going to be difficult to pick a winner this year because everybody brought something different to the table, and there's a lot of it's Sony. Sony won big time. It was definitely Sony's year. Sony 2016, vote Sony. Hi there, folks, and welcome to the very last of my E3 coverage. Hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, because this week was insane. I think all you guys are sticking with me. I mean, I put out almost a video a day. That is a new record for me. So I want to thank all you guys for sticking through and watching them. Also, I might sound a little bit different in this video. I am actually testing out a brand new wired mic, a little lapel mic, if you will. I probably shouldn't have just touched it. That probably just ruined the whole thing. But yes, at the end of every E3, everybody always picks who they think was a winner, and for me, it's gotta be Sony this year. Don't get me wrong, Xbox was definitely a contender. Xbox put forth a strong performance at this E3, but you know, they put out there a lot of stuff that people was kind of expecting from Xbox, which hey, if you're an Xbox fan, that's fantastic. In fact, I kind of like that they are now kind of leaning into, hey, this is what people expect from us, so we're going to deliver on that, because at the beginning of this generation, and a lot towards the end of the last generation, Xbox and PlayStation were kind of becoming the exact same thing. So I'm glad that Xbox is now kind of embracing, hey man, we are the first-person shooter, we are the dudes with giant guns system, we are the system for Halo and his amazing friends. So yeah, I'm glad that they are kind of embracing that, because yeah, that's where people want to go for that kind of game, and they provide some strong stuff for that. They provide a lot more info on the next Halo. We got to see the first bits of Gears of War 4, which for the first time actually has me interested in a Gears of War game, and we also got word of a new Mass Effect, although I don't know if that Mass Effect is going to be Xbox exclusive or if they were just showing it off there. That one's still in the early development, so Sony could still easily come in and go, you're putting that in our system too. But that's not saying that Xbox didn't have some games that didn't follow that stereotype. They did provide some games that were different, like ReCore. I am actually really looking forward to ReCore. That looks like it could be a ton of fun. Looks like it could have some really creative, both adventure and puzzle solving elements in it together with the way that you move the cores around. I really want to see more about that. And also, it's by the people who made Metroid Prime. Speaking of Metroid Prime, there's a reason I didn't bring up Nintendo at the beginning of the show. I'm going to have an entire video all to itself of my big geeky idea, another episode of that series, where I'm going to talk about what I think Nintendo can do to improve itself. But yeah, this was a poor E3 for them. This was. It's not the worst ever. All those people out there is like, oh, this is the worst E3 ever for Nintendo. No, it's not. Although, fan reaction might have been the worst ever to them. Last I heard, Nintendo actually had to shut down the comments on their YouTube channel. And don't get me wrong, YouTube is known for having terrible comments. But wow, if you're a major gaming company and you have to shut down the comments for all your E3 stuff, you know you screwed up. And don't get me wrong, I fully understand that Nintendo has their own conferences, that Nintendo doesn't really care about E3. They care more about impressing people at their own conferences, and they do have one coming up. However, that's kind of like being a football team and going, yeah, we don't need to win the away games. We just have to win the home games. No, you don't. You got to win all the games. Okay, maybe not win, but you got to at least place. You got to at least show you have something. I mean, if you have your own show coming up in a few weeks and you're just going to like go, okay, we're keeping everything secret until then. We're only going to show them the little things now. First off, it makes me think that you don't have anything coming out of that big thing coming up in a few weeks. And secondly, everybody's looking at E3. Only a couple of people are going to look at your special event. This is when the whole world is looking at you. I'm not saying that you can't hold your really big stuff for then. I'm just saying, teasers, brother. There's a reason that Marvel goes, hey, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't doing that well? All right, first trailer for Age of Ultron goes on then. And yes, they gave us Star Fox, but A, that's one thing, and B, I'm talking about the way that they do their presentations. They started with Star Fox. And then they had nothing else that could even come close to matching that for the whole thing. In fact, most of the things that followed it was like, oh yeah, here's even more stuff about that thing that you already knew existed. You can't start with your big gun out there and then have nothing to follow it up. And you started on Sunday before any of this even happened, man. Like before E3 even began, you came out there and was like, oh yeah, reusing Smash Brothers. And everybody went nuts. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Save that for the actual show. I know that you want to come out there before everything and just kind of go like, all right, yeah, get hyped for the Nintendo thing with this. But if you didn't have anything at the Nintendo thing for us to be hyped for, you can't get us hyped before that. So you got us hyped then. Then you start with Star Fox. It's like, oh my gosh, yes. And then start with Roy. Roy is announced. That's the beginning of your show. Then you go into a couple of the games we've already seen. Then you talk about a couple of games that we haven't seen yet. Then you end with Star Fox. Oh my gosh, yes, the big thing. Star Fox, we're all happy. And then it's, oh, by the way, one more thing. Ryu is in Smash Brothers. And if you had done your show like that, don't get me wrong, people would still have been saying like, okay, there's not enough games. And yes, that's true, there are not enough games. Like I said, we're gonna make a video all about that on its own. But at least people would have been like, well, here are the points of interest in it. Here are the positives that we can talk about, rather than going, well, here's the positive we can talk about, Star Fox. And with that Metroid thing, wow. I made a comment in my video about how there was actually a change.org petition to make them get rid of that game. Since then, I have actually met people in real life who have signed that. Not on the internet. Not like some like angry nerd on the internet who has no outside life. No, I'm talking about professionals, like people in suits I've spoken with in the real world who are like, oh yeah, that thing, I signed that. It's like, what? And don't get me wrong, I am not saying that Metroid has to be one specific thing. I'm not saying that you can't experiment with Metroid. I'm not saying that you can't introduce new characters or introduce new styles of gameplay. That's all perfectly fine. I'm just saying for the franchise that people have been begging you to make a new installment for all this time, a Halo-looking rip-off soccer game is what you went with? What? Hold on, I just used what a second ago for another thing. Let me use a new exclamation. Blah. There we go. But alright, I'm sorry for ranting so much like that. I don't mean to beat up on Nintendo. Heck, I didn't even like fully hate their conference like everyone else did. I even liked the puppets. I really enjoyed the puppets. I thought that was a fun thing for them to throw in there. But looking at the games they have coming out, I'm not angry, Nintendo. I'm just disappointed. All right, let's get into Sony. As I said, I think Sony won this E3. And the reason why is it kind of struck that perfect balance of showing not too much, but still enough. Like giving us enough to tease us for what's coming out. And also it struck that perfect balance of the old nostalgia and the new stuff coming out. All right, to start with the new stuff, we saw some more stuff about No Man's Sky. That thing doesn't even seem like it should be real to me. I don't know how that's going to happen. I think No Man's Sky is going to be the first stage of Skynet, because it seems like it's a game that's just going to build itself. That's frightening and intriguing to me all at the same time. But we also got to see gameplay for this brand new thing that I had never even heard of, Horizon Zero Dawn. Oh my gosh, I want that now. That looks exactly like the kind of post-apocalyptic game I want to play, because I'm so tired of all the other like dingy, dirty, post-apocalyptic games we have. This one, yeah, you're a warrior, you're out there, you're fighting with bows and arrows and whatever weapons you can find, and you're fighting robot dinosaurs. Looks cool to me. Then moving into that stuff that we already knew was coming out, but they teased us a little bit more with it. Street Fighter, we got 2 new playable characters. One that was Cammy, so to me that doesn't really count because it's Street Fighter. We knew Cammy was going to be in there. It'd be like saying Ken is a revealed character for that. We know he's going to be in there. But just like I said, with the way that Marvel promotes their movies, every single time that Sony gets a chance to just put out there a little bit of information, no matter how insignificant it is about Street Fighter, they take advantage of it just so it keeps it in our mind, so it keeps us thinking about that. But next up, they give us a new trailer for Uncharted. Holy cow. When that thing started, I was like, okay, this looks good, but it looks just like Uncharted. Like, it looks like all the other Uncharted games. You're not giving me anything new about this. You know, Sully interacts with you a bit more, you interact with the crowd a bit more. Whatever, you know, it's you're not giving me anything new. And then the trailer kept going and going and going. I expected the Duracell bunny to come through at one point. No one in my audience is old enough to get that joke. But yeah, as soon as they got into the car and started racing downhill, I kept waiting for that trailer to end, and it just kept going, and they just kept driving through more of the town. And it's not like they were driving through the same streets over and over again, or seeing like the same people over and over again. No, you're driving through different parts of the town with different people running through with different houses decorated in different ways. They didn't create Uncharted. They created an entire world and just put Nathan Drake in there to mess stuff up. I am looking forward to this game so much. I love all the Uncharted ones, and this one looks like it is indeed going to promise on being the biggest one of them all. And I can't not talk about this. The Last Guardian is still alive. I would have put money on the table that that thing was dead, but Sony resurrected it for this, and yeah, that alone probably won them this, because that's like the golden snitch in Quidditch. I think. I never actually read a Harry Potter book. Why did I admit to that online? But yes, we got to see that it's still alive, we got to see some new gameplay footage, and it did not disappoint. Next up, This part is where we get into the nostalgia stuff. Final Fantasy VII is getting a remake. Wow. As I said, I'm a little bit concerned for the future of Square on this one, because Square was like, we're never going to remake Final Fantasy VII. We got too many other things going on for us. And then all 3 Final Fantasy 13s kind of flopped. And so the fact that they are bringing this out there kind of tells me that they're worried about their own future and they don't really know what they're going to do next. But I don't care because Final Fantasy VII is coming out. Now, as I mentioned in the video that I made about that, I am worried that Square is going to come in and go, well, nobody likes side quests anymore, so we're just going to get the side quests out of there. That way, the story is more streamlined. Don't do that. And I'm afraid that they're going to, take out the turn-based battle because it's like, oh, that's an old thing. Nobody enjoys that anymore. Yes, we do. But I think for the most part, they learned their lesson on that. But at the end of it all, you gotta go out big. You gotta do something huge to end your whole thing. And how about resurrecting the dead? Is that big enough for you? Oh my gosh. We talk about how we thought The Last Guardian was gone for good. Shenmue was 6 feet under already. No one thought that was coming back, which stinks because that game franchise had a continuous story, and anybody who played that back on the Dreamcast, they were hooked on it. That was one of those first games that really made people go, I want to know where the story of this is going. And it just ended because Sega kind of ended. And Sega's been sleeping on Nintendo's couch this whole time, so I've been begging Nintendo, dude, you have got a company there that is basically just in your pocket, and you can pull out any of their games whenever you want, including Shenmue. People are waiting for that one, and Nintendo was just like, yeah, whatever, we don't care about Shenmue, we got Paper Mario games to make. And then Sony comes in, and they're the ones to go, no, we're bringing it back if you give us $2 million. It's weird, isn't it? It's weird that they ended a conference with a Kickstarter. It's weird that Kickstarter was the announcement at any of these big things. It seems like announcing a Kickstarter at E3 should be something that just some dude with flyers at E3 is doing. Just some guy out there like, hi, donate my Kickstarter. Hi, I'm working on a game. Can you please just donate my Kickstarter? That's where I expect to hear about Kickstarter news at E3. But no, this is that big of a thing that they were just like, hey man, you guys want this game? Prove it. And here's the thing. You proved it. That thing in 10 hours hit $2 million. Oh my gosh, it's still got 30 days left to go. That thing had better be like on the Oculus Rift by the time this is all done with, and you get to live out the life of Shenmue. So yes, E3 2015, it had its ups, it had its downs, but in the end, I do think that Sony is the one that walked away the winner, but that's just my opinion. I want to hear from you. Who do you think won E3 this year, and what game are you looking forward to most that was announced this year? Leave that in the comments down below. Also, if you like this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've only got a little bit of time left in June, and I've still got a long way to go to hit that 1,000 subscriber goal. So if you like this, subscribe, share, do all that stuff. I always appreciate it whenever I see anyone doing that. I thank you all so much for that. And if you want to see my E3 coverage, it's here, everywhere. It's all around, you know what, it's right there. All right, click on any of those links, guys. Thank you very much, and come back next time. This is a very hard position for me to hold. Thank you.